Welcome to HH28, where we unravel the secrets of self-discovery and matchmaking. We are Hugh and Heather,
two master holistic guides dedicated to helping you navigate the worlds of numerology, astrology, and personality in pursuit of meaningful connections.
All right, so we're diving into some INTJ compatibility today.
Yeah,
Kind of like peeking into the machinery of how INTJs connect with everyone else.
it is. And it's fascinating how just those four letters can tell us so much about someone's potential dynamics, with other people.
Right. And I'm really interested to see how this plays out in different areas of life, like obviously love, but also work, friendships, things like that.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that,
Sure.
maybe we should do a quick flyover of the INTJ landscape itself.
Definitely. Yeah, so when we say INTJ, we're talking about introversion, intuition, thinking, and judging. Each one of these kind of shapes how you see and interact with the world.
Yeah, it's like you're seeing the world through a different set of lenses.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, this often means a love for strategy, a knack for patterns, and a really strong preference for logic and planning.
Absolutely. And all that gets amplified by how intuitive you are as an INTJ, always thinking steps ahead, envisioning possibilities, anticipating outcomes. It's not just planning just to plan. It's understanding the why behind everything.
Yeah. Like those chess matches where every move is thought out 10 steps in advance.
Exactly.
It's no wonder that they're called the masterminds. But our sources also say that this analytical, future-focused way of being can be challenging sometimes, especially when it comes to emotions.
That's right. Because you think with logic and prioritize clear thinking, so you approach emotions the same way.
Like trying to solve an emotional equation,
Right.
but there's no formula.
Exactly. Some types thrive on emotional expression and connection.
So that's where compatibility comes in.
Right.
Recognizing the differences and figuring out how to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about those bridges. Let's start with romantic relationships. What do the stars say about INTJs and love?
Some signs are definitely going to make fireworks,
Okay.
while others might be more of a slow burn.
Okay, give me the good stuff first. Which types are best for an INTJ's heart? Or should I say mind?
Well, you might really like the spark you get with an ENTP. They're known for being quick-witted. They love to debate, and they challenge you in a way that's stimulating, not confrontational.
So it's like having a partner in crime for those late-night philosophical debates.
Yeah. You both love those deep conversations, picking apart ideas, challenging assumptions, exploring a bunch of different perspectives.
But with a bit more spontaneity thrown in.
That's the ENTP's extroverted nature. They can pull you out of your comfort zone and get you to try new things, but they still get that you need your downtime to reflect.
It's like having a built-in adventure buddy who's also like a walking encyclopedia. All right, that's one downs. What other personality types make your heart skip a beat?
Okay, well, since we're talking about those deep connections, we can't forget INFJs. You might find yourself drawn to their warmth, empathy, and how they just get you on an intuitive level.
Like it can read your mind.
They're incredibly perceptive and tuned into other people's emotions. They just get you, even if you're not saying anything.
Okay, that's amazing and a little scary.
And that's where those deep conversations are so important. INFJs are just like INTJs. They need authenticity and depth. They aren't afraid of the big questions, and they want those real heart-to-heart connections.
It's like finding your soulmate for those late-night talks about the meaning of life. Two down any other contenders for the INTJ Romantic Hall of Fame.
This one might surprise you, but ENTJs and INTJs can have a really compatible and romantic relationship.
Wait, really? I thought we were talking about love, not just conquering the world together.
That's just it. Sometimes those shared ambitions can create a really passionate connection. ENTJs have that same drive, determination, and strategic mindset. They admire your intellect and they like how direct you are.
So you're basically finding someone who not only gets your goals, but helps you reach them. That's awesome.
It can be electric. You're both logical and you approach problems the same way. You support each other and celebrate each other's wins. It's really fulfilling.
Okay, I'm starting to see how those late-night strategy sessions could turn into something more. But our sources did say that some types might need more effort when it comes to love.
Yeah, it's true. Not every personality type is going to be a perfect match when it comes to romance.
Okay, I'm ready for some potential deal breakers. Who are we talking about here?
Well, ESFPs are usually a lot to handle. They have this really vibrant energy and zest for life that's super attractive, but it takes work to make it last long term.
Because they're like the life of the party,
Yeah.
and INTJs would rather observe from afar.
They get energy from social interaction, being spontaneous and experiencing the world with their senses. They're living in the moment. And you, as an INTJ, are analyzing it.
You're thinking about your next 5 moves, and they're already 3 steps ahead, dancing to a beat only they can hear. I see how that could lead to some miscommunication.
For sure. It's not impossible, but both people would have to put in the effort to try to understand those different approaches to life.
Right, it's about finding a balance between spontaneity and strategy.
Mm.
Speaking of finding balance, what other types might be romantically challenging for INTJs?
ISFPs with their artistic souls and empathy can be amazing, but also really challenging for an INTJ.
Because they're all about emotions and senses, and INTJs are all about logic.
Exactly. ISFPs are super in tune with their own feelings and those around them. They're creative, compassionate, and see the beauty in everything. You might connect with them intellectually, but emotionally, it's going to be tough.
Like speaking different love languages, right?
Mm,
One's about grand gestures and poems, the other is all about quality time and acts of service.
exactly. And again, it's not that it's impossible, but it's about seeing where those differences might cause issues and require more communication.
So being aware of those patterns helps you navigate the challenges.
Oh.
Okay, so we talked about some of the highs and lows of romantic compatibility for INTJs. But love isn't the only thing.
Right. These patterns apply to all aspects of an INTJ's life, from their friends to the people they work with.
And speaking of deep connections, INTJs need them in their friendships too, right?
For sure. Let's talk about INTJ friendships next. INTJ friendships aren't like collecting a bunch of random friends. They're about those few really deep connections.
Yeah, quality over quantity. So our sources say INTPs are a great fit for those intellectual connections.
Definitely. INTPs love logic and analysis, just like you. They love diving into those complex ideas. Conversations are never shallow. You dissect theories, you debate different views, and you leave those talks feeling energized.
Like you found your intellectual sparring partner.
Exactly.
I love that. What else makes INTPs such a good fit for INTJ friends?
They get that you need your space and alone time. They won't be offended if you disappear into your head for a while because they need that too.
It's like this comfortable silence that says everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so INTPs are top of the list for friends. What other types make it into that inner circle?
Well, remember those ENTPs. They can bring some spontaneity and adventure to your life just like in a romantic relationship.
Because sometimes masterminds need to break out of their routines.
Exactly. ENTPs show you new ideas, new experiences, things you'd never find on your own. They push you out of your comfort zone, but in a good way.
Like the friend who shows up with plane tickets and says, let's go on an adventure. And you just know it'll be amazing.
And then there are the INFJs. They're warm, empathetic, and genuinely compassionate. And that makes them amazing friends.
Yeah, because even the most logical person needs a shoulder to cry on sometimes.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure. INFJs are a safe space.
Yeah.
They're amazing listeners, and they just get it.
Mm.
Their emotional intelligence is grounding for an INTJ.
It's like having a built-in translator for emotions.
Right.
So the best INTJ friends challenge you, inspire you, and support you.
Exactly. But just like any relationship, there are always some dynamics that are going to be harder.
Right.
And for INTJs, ESFJs can be tricky.
Because ESFJs are super social butterflies.
Yeah,
And INTJs are like, one good conversation a week is enough for me.
they are. ESFJs are energized by people, conversations, and doing things. They need harmony and connection more than anything. That can be hard when an INTJ would rather be alone having a deep discussion.
Yeah, an ESFJ's perfect Friday night is a huge party with tons of friends. An INTJ would rather be home with a book and some tea.
Exactly. And that's okay. Just be aware of those differences and respect each other's needs.
Find those activities you both enjoy.
Yeah.
Are there any other personality types that are tricky for INTJs to be friends with?
Well, ESTPs can be a mixed bag. They're all about action, being spontaneous, living in the moment.
They're always on the go looking for thrills, racking up those travel points, while the INTJ is at home planning their next intellectual project.
ESTPs want to experience things, take risks, really live life to the fullest. They're not afraid to jump into new things, and that can be exciting, but also a bit much for an INTJ.
Yeah, their energy can be contagious sometimes, but too much of it can be overwhelming.
It's all about finding a balance.
Okay, so we talked about friendships. Let's switch gears to INTJs in the workplace. We know INTJs are great strategists and see the big picture, but what about all those daily interactions and working with others? Which types are the best for an INTJ to work with?
Well, remember those ENTJs who can turn an idea into something real? They're awesome in the workplace, too.
Yeah, like they're the rocket fuel for the INTJ spaceship.
Exactly.
Why does that pairing work so well?
You're both ambitious, intelligent, and driven. You get each other. ENTJs love how strategic you are and that you're always thinking ahead. You love that they get things done and know how to lead a team.
It's like this perfectly in sync team that tackles these huge, amazing goals.
Exactly. And because you both respect each other's intelligence and you communicate directly, it's a recipe for success.
An unstoppable force.
Right.
Okay, so ENTJs are definitely at the top of the list for business partners. What other types are good for an INTJ to work with?
You might be surprised to hear that ISTJs are great to work with.
Really? I never would have thought of that.
They're all about order, efficiency, and practicality.
Yeah.
And that makes them fantastic partners.
So how does that work?
It's all about balance. You're the visionary thinking about the big picture and long-term goals. ISTJs are the ones who build the systems and processes to make it all happen.
So they're like the masterminds behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly, while the INTJ is creating these incredible plans.
Precisely.
That makes so much sense. They handle the how, and the INTJ handles the what. That's a great combination.
It is. But like with any job, it's important to know where conflicts might come up. And for INTJs, that usually happens with ESFPs.
Because their idea of a 5-year plan is, what are we having for lunch?
Something like that. ESFPs live in the moment. They want action spontaneity and connection with others. So while you're thinking long term, they're focused on getting things done right now and making work fun.
Which is good for morale, but not always good for deadlines.
It's about communication and being understanding. It's not that one way is better, it's about bridging the gap and appreciating what both people bring to the table.
You're saying give the ESFP some structure and deadlines, but still let them have their energy.
Exactly. And ISFPs can also be a bit tricky in the workplace because of their strong values.
Because it's not just about the work itself, it's about the reason behind it.
Yes. ISFPs are driven by purpose. They want to make a difference, they're empathetic, creative, and their work has to align with their values. That can be a challenge for an INTJ.
That clash between values and logic could be interesting.
For sure. But it also makes work more well-rounded and meaningful.
It's about finding that balance between passion, purpose, strategy, and efficiency.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about friends and the workplace.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Well, since INTJs often become leaders or entrepreneurs, let's talk about business.
Okay, so let's say you're an INTJ. You've got this big vision. You're a natural strategist, and you're driven to build something incredible. But you need the right people to make it happen.
Definitely. Even the best ideas need a good team to bring them to life. And for INTJs, that means finding people who share your vision but also bring something different to the table.
So who are those ideal business partners?
Well, remember how ENTJs are all about taking action? That energy is perfect for the business world.
They're like the rocket fuel for the INTJ spaceship. But seriously, why does that combination work so well?
You have the same goals, and you both have different strengths that work together. INTJs are all about strategy. And the long game ENTJs are the ones who can actually make it happen.
Like a dream team taking over the world, or at least their corner of the market.
Right. You're both ambitious, intelligent, and direct. That creates a really strong foundation.
Definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
So ENTJs are at the top of the list. Who else should INTJs think about for business partners?
This one might surprise you, but ESTJs are actually fantastic business partners.
Really?
Mm.
How so?
Well, they're all about order, efficiency, and getting things done.
That's true.
And that's perfect for an INTJ.
Okay, I can see it now.
Because you're already 10 steps ahead thinking about the big picture. ESTJs can come in and create the system to make it all work.
So they're the ones making sure the trains run on time while the INTJ is designing the whole system.
Precisely.
It frees you up to focus on the what while they take care of the how.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
And then, of course, there are the INFJs with their emotional intelligence.
All right, because business isn't just about numbers and strategy. It's about people, too.
And INFJs get that. They're incredible at understanding people, building relationships, creating a really positive work environment.
It's like having a secret weapon for understanding your customers, your team, your whole brand.
Exactly.
This is great. But we have to talk about the types that are more challenging for INTJs in the business world.
You're right. It's not always easy.
So who are we talking about here?
Well, ENFPs can be tricky.
Because they have a million ideas, but aren't always the best at actually making them happen.
That's it. They're super creative, enthusiastic. They come up with amazing ideas, but they might not have a concrete plan to make it a reality.
So you might end up with a bunch of amazing ideas and no way to execute them.
It can happen. It doesn't mean ENFPs can't be successful.
Yeah.
But with an INTJ, you have to be really clear about who's doing what and make sure everyone's on the same page.
It's about balancing those big dreams with actual concrete steps.
Exactly. And then there are ESFPs with their spontaneity and charisma.
Because for them, the best business meetings are probably on a golf course, while the INTJ is back in the office looking at spreadsheets.
Pretty much. ESFPs are all about energy connection and making things fun. They're amazing at networking and building relationships, but they might not always stick to the plan.
Which can be good and bad.
Exactly. You need to find a balance. Let them use their strength, but also have really clear expectations.
Find a way to work together so everyone wins. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. We talked about how INTJs think the best romantic matches for them, the kinds of friends they need, the best people to work with, even business partners. But it's important to remember that these are just tools.
Absolutely. The MBTI can help you understand yourself and others, but it's not about putting people into boxes.
Right, because even if opposites attract, that doesn't mean it's easy.
It's about understanding those differences, being willing to compromise, and growing together.
Something for you to think about. We've explored a lot about INTJs today, but how can you use this information to build stronger relationships? What compromises are you willing to make? What are your boundaries? And how can you stay true to yourself while still connecting with others in a meaningful way? That's all the time we have for today, but remember, this journey of self-discovery and connection never really ends.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing all those, fascinating contradictions that make us who we are.